Thanks, Kim. I guess they say they save the best for last. I don't think that applies here, but we'll see. Just to give you a little bit of an introduction, my name is Mike Hennessay. I've been involved with JEDI off and on for the last 4 years, and probably about just 4 years at this point. And I started out in economic development and moved into doing a master's at University of New Brunswick, and recently completed the course requirements, currently working through my thesis. But when I heard about the Aboriginal Labor Market Information Project, it immediately piqued my interest because of my schooling interests in counseling, psychology, and career development. And so this project really caught my eye. So I came on in end of September last year, and basically the Aboriginal Labor Market project was formed to explore current sources of labor market information that are available, and also to explore avenues for increased data collection, increased quality of data into the labor market in the Aboriginal communities and off-reserve populations of New Brunswick. Labor market information is something that is a consistent challenge in Canada as a whole, not just with the Aboriginal population. We're not some unique circumstance. This is an article written by Donald Drummond that says that we need better labor market information in Canada as a whole. There is mixed messages being sent from governments. There's mixed messages being sent from different studies and research. And so our goal through this project is to move forward in developing and forming better labor market information and data collection processes, but on the smaller scale in the Aboriginal community of New Brunswick. And so if you're like me, when I began my career, labor market information was, well, honestly, I'd never really heard of it before. And so I came through high school, met with my guidance counselor maybe one time in the 4 years of high school. You know, it was a very informal conversation. They didn't really tell me anything about job prospects or anything like that. And so I really had to do a little bit of my own homework. What is LMI? I'm hearing a lot about it now that I've got this job. What in the world am I getting into here? And so LMI, basically, it includes information about careers such as job perspectives, trends, salaries, what training is required to go into certain jobs. There's a huge continuum of data that constitutes labor market information, and also includes potential employers. So example, questions you have might be, who is hiring? We've heard a little bit about Irving Shipbuilding this afternoon. We've got Potash Corporation, different major companies out in the trade show component. So the question is, as young people are coming out of school today, who is hiring? How can I get a job? And who is going to employ me? This is all labor market information. Labor market information provides guidance on what jobs are hot, which jobs are not, which jobs have a future in the province of New Brunswick, which jobs are kind of phasing out. You know, there was a time when being able to type on a typewriter was a hugely sought after job. But with the invention of computers and cell phones, everybody has that skill now. And so having that as a skill is no longer a useful, employable for a job. Which jobs are hot, which jobs are not, which jobs are going up as far as demand, which jobs are going down as far as demand. Where are the workers from an employer perspective? I need people to fill these positions with this expansion in my business. Where am I going to get them from? These are all labor market information. And so with that, coming into what we're going to talk about this afternoon, what is available right now in regards to Aboriginal labor market information? What do we know about the labor market, the labor force in New Brunswick of the Aboriginal community? And there are two main sources of data available to us. right now. The first one is the National Household Survey, which was conducted in 2011, which is a little while ago. With the last time we did a Canada-wide census, and the second one is the Aboriginal People Survey, which was conducted in 2012. Again, that's a little bit dated, and that is focused on the off-reserve population. So to get a really full picture of what the New Brunswick labor market is, the Aboriginal labor market is, we're going back to 2011, the National Household Survey. So what does it look like? Well, the Aboriginal population, and this is something I think most people in the room know, but the Aboriginal population is young and it is growing. It's an emerging labor market. It's in 2011, you can see by the graph, 41.5% of the New Brunswick Aboriginal population was below the age of 24, compared to 27% of the non-Aboriginal population. And the median age of the non-Aboriginal population was 43.7. The median age of the Aboriginal population was just over 31 years old. There is a huge difference between the average ages of the Aboriginal and the non-Aboriginal population, and we hear a lot about the aging workforce in New Brunswick and Atlantic Canada. We hear a lot about it in Canada as a nation, and when we look at the Aboriginal community, we see a very different story, and it provides an opportunity for us as Aboriginal people to capitalize on future employment opportunities as people retire, as that non-Aboriginal population ages continually. The youth of the Aboriginal people in the province can capitalize on opportunities. And so we're a young and growing labor force with 6,090 youth between the ages of 5 and 19 in 2011. Now between the ages of 9 and 23, those people would be. And so there's going to be thousands of Aboriginal people moving into the labor market in the next 10 years. And they will be able to bridge that gap of aging workforce that is being trumpeted as a big issue. The Aboriginal population can make a dent in that. So what does it look like right now? According to the National Household Survey, again 2011, a workforce participation rate in New Brunswick in the Aboriginal community was 61.2%, and there is a little bit of a difference between male and female. The males was 65.8% participation rate in the labor market, and females is 56.8% participation. The employment rate overall was 48.4%, and the unemployment rate overall was 20.8%, according to the National Household Survey in 2011. And with males, that was even higher, 23%. And females, it was lower at 18.3%. And just a kind of that picture's really, really dark. It's not that dark on my computer. But if you can make her out, this is Laura McFarlane, a success story in the labor market of New Brunswick. She's a Red Seal cook from Metapanaugiak First Nation. Anybody from Metapanaugiak here in the room? No. I saw Stephen earlier. But this is a success story from Metapanaugiak. Laura McFarlane owns her own food truck. She has a seasonal business, and she also works at a seniors home. And this is what is the face of the Aboriginal workforce in the province. It's young. We're emerging. We're getting certifications like Red Seal. We're becoming more and more educated. And this is just one example of many in the province of New Brunswick. And so when we look at the unemployment rate in 2008, you can see 2 to 1, basically, Aboriginal population versus the non-Aboriginal population. And so that is the reality of where it was in 2011, according to the National Household Survey. And when you look at it, you break down those who are in the workforce, who are working. This is where they are working. And you can see on the left-hand side, you've got a bit of a legend, where they're working: management, business, natural, applied sciences, health, education, and so on. And then on the right, you can see the numbers in a graph. And you can see that the majority, or the most common occupational categories are sales and services, trades, transport and equipment, education, law, and social community government services. and business, finance, and administration. Those were the sectors that that dominated the Aboriginal workforce according to National Household Survey. What top industries? Well, there's so many, but these are the top 8. Public administration, which is basically government services, was 18.7% of the Aboriginal workforce, according to the 2011 survey. Also, retail trade, 11.8%, healthcare, 11%, and then construction, agriculture, accommodation and food services, manufacturing, educational services carries down from there, and there's even more from that, but I don't want to bore you guys too much. And so that's basically a breakdown of industries, and now we're going to look at education. These are the education levels of the Aboriginal population in New Brunswick, and this is according to the 2013 profile of the New Brunswick labor force. And you can see in the middle, there are some success stories in the Aboriginal population. We're outpacing as far as apprenticeship and trade certifications. There's a greater rate of Aboriginal people becoming apprentices, getting certified in the trades, and we're competitive on college certifications and diplomas as far as the rate of education. But it's the top and the bottom that is the challenge. When it comes to high school completion, there is a much higher rate of Aboriginal people not completing high school compared to the non-Aboriginal population. And when it comes to university education, there is a much higher proportion of the non-Aboriginal population completing university compared to the Aboriginal population. So those are the two challenge areas. And so, and there's going to be opportunity for questions at the end. So basically, there are numerous challenges that we face when we look at labor market data as a whole. We just got a picture of what the Aboriginal labor market looks like in the province of New Brunswick, but that was based on information that is now 4 years old, right? And that's the best source that we have right now for a provincial look. And so we're working with old data, like I talked about, National Household Survey, the Aboriginal People Survey. When it comes to data collection, there are many sources of data that are continuously being collected, like the Labor Force Survey, but those data collections do not include the Aboriginal communities, along with other rural communities. So that really makes it difficult for us to get up-to-date information on what is going on in the labor market of our province, in the Aboriginal labor market of our province. And I'm actually working right now to try and get access to, they have some off-reserve numbers in the labor force survey, so we're going to be able to get a look at that and see that, but that misses 50% of the population which lives in our communities, right? So getting a good, solid provincial picture is a challenge. It's a challenge. Our participation rates, when StatsCan goes out and does things like the Labor Force Survey or the National Household Survey, the Aboriginal People Survey, it's been a long-standing challenge with them as far as participation rates in the communities. And so how can we overcome that? These are challenges that we face, and the cost to collect data in rural communities, not just Aboriginal communities, but rural communities, is another challenge. And so the way forward, and this is what we're going to be working on through the Aboriginal Labor Market Initiative, moving forward in collaboration, in a spirit of collaboration. This is something that we need to do together as the Aboriginal community of New Brunswick. We have a young demographic. We have young people emerging into the workforce. We're becoming more and more educated, becoming more and more able to capitalize on opportunities. But we need to be able to show industry and government and stakeholders what we have. And so as communities, we want to work with communities to build, if you will, the business case of, okay, there's an industry that wants to come in. I'll use my community as an example. There's a Trevally mine that's up in Pabineau, and they have instituted a Aboriginal rate of employment in the mine because we were able to show them that we have people that can work. These are the people, this is where they are. And so this is the type of thing that can happen if we are able to quantify the labor market in our communities and show industries, yeah, we have these people, they're ready to work, they're good to go, they have this level of certification, and you can talk in these numbers when we go to those industries and throughout the province. So doing it in a collaborative way, and all the while protecting the privacy of the individual. The information ultimately belongs to the individual. And so protecting privacy, we have to do it. That's got to underwrite everything that we do. The LMI data collection, again, this goes back to collaborating, but being done with communities. Communities collecting, having the power to collect their own data and to quantify their own labor market. These are things that moving forward we want to be able to do. And using data to inform policy and training programs, and instead of just training because the government put it in RFP, training because there is a gap in the labor force here, and so we want to be able to maximize our people's ability to capitalize on that opportunity. And so using stats to drive policy, using stats to drive training programs, it's something moving forward, and again, I think the buzz term now in the political circles are evidence-driven policy, right? Evidence-based policy, and so those are the types of things that we want to see in the Aboriginal community. And then community services. Is anybody here in EDO, ETO? EDO, ETO? We've got a few. We play a valuable role in data collection, in meeting with clients face to face. That data that is being collected, it's more than just something that we ship off to Service Canada because we have to. It's something that can be used as a tool in the hands of the communities to maximize our participation in the New Brunswick economy. And so that's important. And as well as there's an intuitive connection that I think, this is more my own personal opinion now into this presentation, but the social assistance aspect of the labor market and how the social assistance world needs to tie into the employment world. And so so we can get people off of that social assistance, that social dependency, and back into the workforce, and so they can contribute to our communities and our economy. And so that's basically the project. You got a picture of what the labor market looks like based on the National Household Survey. And so I'm going to open it up right now for any questions, any feedback, anything that I know it's 3:02. So I think the microphone's on now. So.
Yes, my name's Nelson Augustine from Elsipogtok. I just want to know, you just mentioned earlier that the latest information you have is dated from the National Housing Survey as far as the labor market information is concerned. I was wondering if JEDI has any plans in the future to update that, to have a methodology to update that labor market information. You do?
That's a great question, and that's something we don't have. JEDI as an organization we don't have the answer, but I believe that the answer comes from the communities. And so we want to work with the communities to find that answer. How do we do this? Mark mentioned earlier the memorandums of understanding that are being developed through the shipbuilding process. I could see that expanding more than just shipbuilding, but looking into the workforce data collection of more than just those trades and all that stuff, but all across the spectrum. And so working with the tribal councils, working with the chiefs, and building methodology, like you say, with the community involved from the very beginning. And so we're kind of really at the beginning stages of that, so I probably can't say we have a methodology, this is how we're going to do it, but I think we are going to be engaging the chiefs and engaging the tribal councils and the communities in developing that, and how that's going to look is going to be done with the community's assistance.
Yes,
so
we can agree that's a major priority for moving forward for all of us here in New Brunswick. Okay, great, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Hi, do you have any sense of what the on-reserve, off-reserve population is, particularly off-reserve in major centers in New Brunswick?
Good question. The APS, the Atlantic People's Survey, done in 2012, put the unemployment rate in Atlantic Canada for the off-reserve population, I think around 8%. So I haven't seen New Brunswick numbers. I'm waiting for it. They told me it would be 14 weeks until I get it. And I asked them about 8 weeks ago. So I should know by April. Those numbers, as far as the New Brunswick specific numbers, but to me, there does seem to be a difference between the data on reserve versus off reserve. There does seem to be, based on that as an example.
And do you actually know what the off-reserve population is in major centers? It seems to be a difficult piece of information to find.
Yes.
It's harder to count out here than we are west.
Yes. And you know what? That's something that we again depend upon the community partners that are involved. The NBAPC in New Brunswick is that representative group for the off-reserve population. And so that is, I think, they would know what their latest statistic is. In my conversations, I think it was around 25,000, around that. I wouldn't quote me on that, but they're going to be a partner equally with the individual communities in this whole endeavor. So, yeah.
Mike, did you say you use census data to determine some of the numbers in your earlier graphs? Mm-hmm. Was there differentiation between people who self-identified as status Indians?
That is a great question, and I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know. That self-identification thing has been identified as a little bit of a challenge when it comes to apprenticeship. I'm working with Jimmy Arnold at the JEDI office, who's the Aboriginal Adult Learning and Apprenticeship Coordinator, and the apprenticeship numbers in the province are based on self-report. So if you self-report as an Aboriginal person, then you're counted, towards the Aboriginal numbers. But who knows how many people just haven't bothered to say, oh yeah, I'm Aboriginal and I'm a red steel carpenter or cook or whatever. So that is a challenge that we're working on. Yeah. Thanks. Any other questions? Kim's gonna yank the microphone away. Thank you all for your time.